Greetings, it's David Robert Lewis from Media Alternatives, and today is June 16, a public holiday known as Youth Day, which commemorates the sacrifices of the youth in 1976 and the resistance to apartheid. And I thought it would be a good thing to bring to your attention a couple of items which have emerged following our last posting on Rachel Dolezal. And they're all significant and related to our inquiry into apartheid race science and some of these vexing issues. Well, the first item is the discovery of a jawbone in the Balkans of a creature known as Grecopithecus freybergi, and it was dated by paleoanthropologists to 7.2 million years ago, and there's a bit of controversy over the interpretation of what this significance of this finding is, with some people saying, well, this places the origin of humankind a lot earlier and also in Europe. Well, it's not surprising then that we would find in the ensuing weeks after this finding was made known another finding which also changes the way we see ourselves, and you'll get an understanding of what the problem is in interpreting the data, because the finding in Morocco, which was made recently, of our own species Homo sapiens, pushes back the envelope of when human beings emerged out of Africa, and also changes the center point of activity of those human beings from Ethiopia to Morocco. The earlier first known incidence of Homo sapiens, our own species, was placed in Ethiopia at a site called Omar Kabish. And this new finding, 100 kilometers outside of Marrakesh at Jebel Irhoud, changes the date, changes the location of the origin of our species. And in interpreting that information, yes, both items are about hominids. Both items are about this creature which is related to the apes. But Grecopithecus is an intermediate species. It's in no way is it our own species, and in no way does it challenge or change the out of Africa thesis, because the earliest known occurrence of Homo sapiens, our own species, is still on the African continent. The dating and timing of that finding has changed. We're a lot older than we had previously been led to believe. And just to give an example, there's a skull also quite similar, you would say, to the Grecopithecus skull, but it's whereas Grecopithecus I don't think is even a hominid, it's an ape. The hominid in South Africa, which is almost 260,000 years ago, known as Homo heidelbergensis, is more related to Homo sapiens, being part of the hominid branch of evolution, than the Grecopithecus jawbone. So Grecopithecus doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the out of Africa thesis at all. But there's something else that I need to bring to your attention, and that is the controversy surrounding the genes known as Neanderthal alleles, which are found in Europeans and Asians. The controversy is that all Africans today are more directly related to pure-blooded Homo sapiens than Europeans, in one way of looking at it. But we're still all the same species, and we're still all this, of the genus Homo sapiens. So it doesn't change the the controversy, it just perhaps flips things around a bit, because if you remember, there was a pseudoscience known as eugenics, all about the purification of the hominid known as Homo sapiens, the human species, and this whole race science which emerged at the turn of the last century, and creating the disaster we know as the Nazi Holocaust and the South African apartheid system. It flips around that whole thesis a bit, because the truth is that Africans were actually more closely related to what you would refer to as a pure-blooded Homo sapiens creature. Now, in saying that, I'm in no way endorsing this point of view. I think that the whole concept of purity is flawed. The whole concept of race science itself is flawed, and the distinctions which people draw between black and white are not scientific. As we know, adaptive traits are not indicative of a separation between the species. These are all surface features that people have used to discriminate, and we need to take cognizance of this on June 16th, that people died resisting a evil racist system that was based upon this race science, which turned out to be a lot of bunk. So in debunking this and realizing that this controversy and debate is still current, that people are still investigating the origin of a species, we're still looking at the origin of hominids and our ancestors, our relatives in the great apes. So I'm going to leave it at that. It's David Robert Lewis for Media Alternatives, wishing you happy June 16 and a luta continua.